right, everybody, I'm Dennis Pittsenbarger. We're here at SEMA Central, SEMA 2015. I don't need to introduce the guy sitting to my left. He is the one and only Richard Rawlings from Gas Monkey Garage. We're here. Give him a round of applause, everybody. Woo! I needed that. Lots going on in your world. I mean, let's start with something simple. That GT, that Gas Monkey GT on the AccuAir, that thing, I didn't think you could get a car that was this low, that low.
Oh, it's all the way down. I mean, it is literally less than a quarter inch off the ground. It'll roll freely when it's completely aired out, but I mean, it is down there. And it's a wild ride. We've had a lot of fun with it. The worst case was that I wasn't able to drive it the last 3 weeks since we finished it, or 4, because it was coming here and it needed to be all pristine. And you know me, I'd screw it up in a heartbeat.
It would have had a few rubber marks on the back wheels, some shenanigans. I also want to talk about another boat we talked about just a second ago. I really, honestly, the last season, that Cutlass. I mean, I love the GT. Cool. I know it's here and it's really cool. I was a guy who had a 78 Cutlass at one point. I love G-bodies. That thing was just downright cool.
It was really, really cool, and I found a one-owner car, and it was super nice, and we were talking about this thing that Aaron wanted to build with the way that he did the hydraulics with the cups and everything.
Yeah.
And he was like, I can make these cars drive better. I can make them, you know, more roadworthy and something you can drive across country in. I finally found the right car, and I was like, okay, fine, do it. And he pulled it off, and then to control hydraulics with an AccuAir system was something nobody's ever done. So literally you get in, turn the key, you're right there, take off, and you're doing 100 miles an hour without doing this, you know. And
I love the parts of that that episode when you sat in a traditional lowrider.
Oh my goodness.
It was a kidney buster.
My neck still hurts, man. I'm like, golly.
Let's talk about the book. The book's out. I mean, that's got to be exciting for you too.
You know, it's pretty cool, but it's kind of weird telling your stories and putting it out there, and people, you know, it's kind of awesome at the same time, but it's like, golly, you know, that was my life, and I put it in on paper, and then I'm looking at it, and they're telling me to proofread. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. They're like, hey, proofread this. I'm like, well, I lived it. I know what it says. You know, so I'm sitting on an airplane, and I'm like, kicking through my own book, reading the stories. I'm like, this is not good. You know,
now, you're waiting for the person to take a picture of you reading your own book. You're like, no, I'm not reading that. I'm not reading my own book.
Yes, I'm not narcissistic at all.
A lot of cool stuff. It was funny. We came in on the airplane, my wife and I. We walked through McCarran Airport. You know what I saw? A big, giant rack of Gas Monkey tequila.
Yes.
Now, that was a pretty cool thing to see as well.
You know, it's pretty awesome. We launched that about 6 months ago. We're in 36 states, and it's doing really well. It's a little lower alcohol content, so it doesn't ruin the party. And, you know, immediately, but it will. But it's a good thing, and it was part of the plan. You know, we wanted to launch a tequila. We just had to find the right time, and we found it, and there we are.
Well, let's talk about the new season. Now, you were kind of telling me before we walked up here, you didn't know how to tease it because you didn't want to give too much away, but it sounds like you got some exciting builds coming up.
You know, we keep just getting our game better and better, and a lot of people specialize in certain things, and you know, Aaron and I have always prided ourselves on the fact that we don't specialize in any one thing. We pick a genre, we study it, we figure out what it is, and then we try to impress on that or improve on that. And so every build is different. You know, we're not just building 4x4s or just muscle cars. We're all over the board. But this latest one that we got coming up in December is phenomenal. I mean, we do Mega Week every week. You know, it's part of it. And we did the deal with Burt Reynolds, and we did the deal with David Hasselhoff. And this year, you know what? All I got to say is everybody in this room had one when they were a kid.
That's all I'm going to get? That's all the tease I'm going to get?
Every guy in this room had one when they were a kid.
Now, I'm not going to spend my time guessing, but I think I got some thoughts in my head.
Oh,
now,
I'm sure it's small and has wheels.
Oh, now you're really giving us some hints. You know, one of the things that I do love is you make some crazy creations. That Woodward Cruise and the Woodward Drag, that was phenomenal. That
awesome.
car, for lack of ways, it sat down and it went, man. That was not a street car.
No, it was killer. I mean, they gave us a very short period of time, and they said we had to build our own car, and we had to use Hellcat. So we took the challenge, and the Roadkill guys, you know, they brought the heat with whatever that thing was. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, lightweight, 67 Dart with a Hemi stripped of all of its major computer components. Even the guys at Dodge, you know, of course, we're friends with them. They were like, oh, you can't get rid of the harness. You can't get rid of the key. You know, there's all this. You can't tell Aaron no, period.
No.
I mean, that's like a challenge right there.
Challenge accepted. Well, you know what? Everybody knows who you are. One more round of applause for Richard Rawlings.
Right on. What about this guy? Round of applause for this guy. Golly.
Just another yapping head, my friend. Thank you for coming on SEMA Central. Good to see you. If you want more, go to SEMA Central. And where do we go for you?
GasMonkeyGarage.com. Bring it. And Discovery Channel on Mondays. Motor Mondays, as they call it. Wow! Get it.
There you go.
Wow, I'm going to be a pitchman one day.